He never meant to walk in on anyone that day. All he wanted was a moment of peace in the employee locker room before his next shift started. But when single dad Ethan pushed open that door and froze in shock, he had no idea his whole life was about to change. Because standing there, halfway through changing her clothes after a charity event, was the billionaire owner of the company, Madison Hale, a woman so powerful and so private that few employees had ever spoken more than 3 words to her. He apologized, stumbled, tried to back out, but before he could even finish a sentence, she said something he never expected. Something that shifted the ground beneath him. Something that would reveal more about her heart than any headline ever had. Before we jump into this emotional story of kindness, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel Kindness Lights. Your engagement helps stories like these reach more hearts across the world. Ethan had worked at Hale Industries for only 4 months. Between taking care of Lily, his 8-year-old daughter, and juggling 2 part-time jobs, he barely slept. He only took this custodial job because the evening schedule allowed him to pick Lily up from school. Money was tight, stress was constant, but he kept moving forward for her. She was his whole world. That evening, after rushing in late, he pushed open the wrong door, too tired to notice the sign. Madison Hale stood there in a simple white blouse, hair tied up, no makeup, nothing like the powerful CEO he only saw on screens. She gasped softly, startled but not angry. Ethan immediately turned red, stammering apologies, practically tripping over his own feet as he tried to retreat. But instead of yelling or firing him on the spot, which was exactly what he expected, Madison calmly said, "Please don't worry. It's okay. You look like you've had a rough day. Are you all right?" Her voice gentle, sincere. Not what someone with her status ever needed to be. No one asked Ethan that. Not lately. Not with any real care behind it. He froze, confused. Why would someone like her notice anything about someone like him? He muttered something about being fine, just tired, and turned to leave. But Madison stopped him again. "You're the single father, right? The one with the little girl. Lily?" He nodded slowly, unsure how she even knew his name. Madison gave a small smile. "People think I don't pay attention. But I do. Especially to the ones who work hardest." Ethan felt something tighten in his throat. Compliments weren't something he heard often. Certainly not from billionaires. Later that night, while sweeping the lobby floors, Ethan found Madison sitting alone on one of the benches, her hair down now, looking nothing like the glamorous executive from magazines. She looked tired. Human. Like someone who carried more weight than she let the world see. He gave a polite nod and went back to cleaning, but she surprised him again. "Can I ask you something?" He hesitated. Sure." Madison looked up at him with honest curiosity. "How do you do it? Being a single parent. Balancing everything. Showing up every day." He didn't have a polished answer. He didn't have a heroic story. He simply said, "I do it because she needs me. Anne. I guess working hard is the only thing I'm good at." Madison's eyes softened. "You're good at more than that. I can tell." Ethan didn't know why her words hit so deeply. Maybe because no one had told him that in years. Maybe because the last person who ever encouraged him was his late wife. The memory tightened in his chest. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed. A text from Lily's babysitter, "Emergency. She's sick. High fever. Come now." Ethan felt panic rise. He apologized to Madison, grabbed his things, and rushed out. But he didn't realize she was watching, and worrying. The next morning, he arrived late. Lily's fever had kept him awake all night, and he walked into work with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. He expected a warning. Maybe even termination. Instead, when he arrived, the front desk receptionist handed him a sealed envelope. Inside was a handwritten note from Madison. Family comes before everything. Take today off with pay. And if you need help, ask. Kindness only grows when shared. There was also a card for a private children's clinic, fully covered, no cost. Ethan sank onto a bench, overwhelmed. He didn't know whether to cry or laugh or call her immediately. This was more generosity than he'd ever received in his life. By the next day, Lily was feeling better. When Ethan returned to work, he found Madison in the hallway speaking with a group of managers. She excused herself the moment she saw him. "You didn't have to do all that," Ethan said, his voice cracking despite his effort to stay composed. She shrugged softly. "Maybe I didn't have to. But I wanted to. You reminded me that kindness still matters, even in a world that forgets it." Ethan shook his head. "But why me?" Madison gave a quiet, thoughtful smile. "Because once, long before I was who I am now, someone helped me when I needed it most. And I promised myself I would pass that forward whenever I could." Her story was brief but powerful, how she grew up with very little, how a neighbor helped her get her first scholarship application in, how kindness built the foundation of her entire life. "If people hadn't shown me kindness," she said, "I wouldn't be here. And if I forget that, then the success means nothing." From that day on, their interactions changed. Not because of money. Not because of status. But because two people, one powerful, one struggling, met at a moment when kindness was needed most. Madison gave Ethan a flexible schedule so he could care for Lily without sacrificing income. She arranged tutoring support for Lily after school, never taking credit, never making it seem like charity. And Ethan repaid the kindness not with money but with loyalty, honesty, and hard work. People around the company noticed the change, how the billionaire seemed more grounded, more connected. How Ethan walked with a little more confidence. How Lily often visited the office after school and made everyone smile. One afternoon, 3 months later, as Ethan finished his shift, Madison approached him with a small envelope. "I don't want you cleaning floors forever," she said gently. "There's a training program starting next month. Management track. I think you'd be perfect for it." Ethan stared at her, stunned. "You really think I can do that?" "I know you can," she said. "You've been proving it every day." He pressed the envelope against his chest, overwhelmed. "I'll never be able to repay you." Madison shook her head. "Yes, you will. Not to me, but to someone else. Pass it on. That's how kindness keeps moving." Ethan never forgot those words. And months later, as he stepped into his new role, with Lily cheering him on from the hallway, he realized something powerful. Sometimes the moments that feel like accidents are exactly the ones that change everything. A single dad. A billionaire with a quiet past. A chance encounter that led to unexpected kindness. That's how lives change. That's how hope grows. And that's how kindness lights the way forward for all of us.